basically abandoned for about 30 years. And I snatched it up and started to rehab it. And the first thing that happened was that my brother Ron came over. He's a really good plumber. And
Good
he was helping me
evening.
to restore the bathroom.
And welcome to SitePath.
Whoops. Go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
And while he was working, I was standing in the doorway of the upper hallway handing him tools as he needed them.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden I heard this weird noise downstairs. It sounded like a giant bird with like 4 or 5 foot wingspan flapping like crazy. And I ran downstairs, and when I got to the bottom of the stairs, the sound stopped. But I ran to the door, and I looked outside. There was nobody there. I didn't know if somebody was pulling a prank or what. But nobody was there. It was nothing. I went back upstairs, and my brother said, what happened? And I said, didn't you hear that? He said, no. And just as I said that, I heard another noise downstairs. This time, it sounded like somebody had walked into the living room with a big metal toolbox filled with wrenches and thrown it down onto the floor. Really loud and distinct sound. And I ran down as fast as I could. There was nobody there. I ran outside, and I looked. There was no way anybody could have gotten. I'm in the middle of the block, and nobody could have disappeared, basically. So that was the start of it. And then a few months after that, I was working. Like I said, I'm a night person, and I worked all night. And then I was up. It was literally 4:45 in the morning, because I've noted at that time since that things happen in this house often at that time. And I haven't figured out why, but I was wide awake. I was in the front bedroom of the house. I was actually checking my email, and I heard the back door downstairs being pushed open, and I had some sleigh bells hung on it just temporarily as sort of a temporary burglar alarm, and not that I needed it, but I heard the bells jingle, and I heard the door being pushed open, and then I heard my oldest brother, Al, call my name. And I thought that he had probably come into town from New Jersey and gone out like drinking all night at the bars, and then decided to come and crash it, And it didn't make any sense, but I ran downstairs and there was nobody there. The door was locked. There was no disturbance at all. Nobody was there, but I distinctly heard it. And since then I've had several. After I took my parents in, both of my parents were really sickly and elderly, and their neighborhood was right to go, and I took them in and took care of them for the last years of their lives. And after my mother passed, like the next day, or the next night, I should say, I was watching TV in the bedroom, in the middle bedroom, and the back bedroom was my office, and I heard a really loud metallic sound, and I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe some pots or pans or something fell down on the first floor. Went all through the house, couldn't find it. Finally went in my office, and there were quarters scattered all around the floor. And I was wondering, how did those quarters get on the floor? And then I noticed there was a little white plastic cap from a pill thing, and I realized my mother had kept quarters in this little amber plastic vial, prescription vial that she used for, meters and things like that.
Right.
Parking meters. And after she died, I found it when I was cleaning up her stuff, and I just put it in a drawer in that office, basically. So somehow it got out of that closed drawer and smashed to the floor, basically, to scatter all these coins across.
Unbelievable.
And then a few years later, after my father died, I was on the phone. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I was talking to a friend of mine in California, and all of a sudden another loud metallic banging sound. This time it was so loud that he heard it through the phone. And he said, "What is that? Did you drop a pot?" I said, "No, let me go check." And I went downstairs, nothing there. Then I went up to the office, and I opened the door, and there was an antique metal lighting fixture that I had taken down from the ceiling, and I hadn't put back up. It had been thrown from where it was on a bureau to halfway across the floor, basically, and was lying on the floor. So those are a few of the things. And at a certain point, I talked to the woman who lives next door, who's older and has lived here in the neighborhood for at least 50 years, and I asked her if she ever heard anything strange about this house. And she said, "Well, if I were you, I would have the priest come in and bless that house." And I said, "Well, why is that?" And she explained that so that the house had always been in the hands of one family, basically, from the time it was built in 1925. And there were several mysterious deaths in the house. There was a child who died mysteriously. there was somebody, one of the sons actually hung himself in the backyard from a willow tree.
Oh, my Lord.
And supposedly 6 months after he hung himself, the tree was hit by lightning and burned to the ground. And then there was a daughter who was about 30 years old, and she, in the late 50s or early 60s, came home from a union meeting and told her mother she felt tired and just went up to bed and went to sleep and never woke up again. And the final occupant was the son, the one surviving son, basically, who apparently was not all there. And he actually inherited, the mother was like an investor in real estate and left him half a dozen properties, and he would just wander and spend a day at this one and a day at that one, but he never did any repairs or upkeep. And so at one point, the pipe into the house, the main water pipe, burst, and it became uninhabitable, basically. There was no plumbing at all, and he wasn't fit to take care of it, basically. The neighbors would feed him when he came by because they felt sorry for him or whatever. So although he owned it for like the last 30 years of the family, owning it, he barely spent any time there, and it was virtually, abandoned, basically. And then after he died, a cousin who lives across the river in New Jersey inherited it, and he just wanted to get rid of it, so he put it up cheap to get rid of. And
so let me ask you this. We've got to take a news break very shortly, but I'd like to know at this point, did you call a priest in?
No. I don't feel uncomfortable with this stuff. I've had so many experiences over the years, and I basically, I don't know, I just don't feel threatened. I feel that, I believe in a spirit world, and I believe that there are spirits all around us all the time, basically. And I think a lot of the times, a lot of the experiences I've had in this house of a paranormal nature were definitely like kind of teasing, kind of mischievous experiences where once I was lying in bed and I just heard a voice right in my ear just say boo, like a little kid or something, trying to scare, like almost like a cartoon ghost, basically. And another time I heard like a female voice say hello, and it was as if she were like standing right next to me with her, So it could be the ghosts of the people who lived here before, or I don't know. There are a lot of different theories about spirits, and
so is it safe? Is it safe to say that Casper and his gang live in Philadelphia, PA?
I would guess so.
All right, Joe, stand by. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Exonation, Joe Augustyn is our guest. His website is www.wildcatpress.net. That's www.wildcatpress.net. And Joe and I will be back on the other side talking about, one of his movies, Night of the Demons. We're going to be talking to Joe about his newest book, which is nonfiction. It's entitled Ghostwriter, The Polaroid Ghost and Other True Tales of the Paranormal. My name is Rob McConnell. Joe and I will be back on the other side of this news break. Don't go away. My name is Rob McConnell, and I would like to tell you about a very special lady that I have the pleasure of knowing, and that's Miss Sylvia Anthony. Sylvia Anthony believes the golden years are a time to gear up and get busy, not relax and take it easy. She has faced many hardships in her 84 years, but they have made her stronger and more determined. As founder and president of Sylvia's Haven, a shelter for women and their children near Boston, Sylvia has helped transform over 1,086 lives in the past 27 years, not only with housing, but also providing direction as to where they can go to develop the earning skills they want and need to live free from difficult domestic situations. Sylvia's Haven is everything to Sylvia Anthony, even calling it her magnificent obsession. Women who qualify for the program at Sylvia's Haven receive assistance via guidance counselors to find the appropriate job opportunity. Women and their children may remain at the housing for up to 2 years. At the end of this time, or sooner, a woman who is successfully employed and has an apartment or home may leave Sylvia's Haven to begin a new and independent life. Now this is where you come in to help make Sylvia's dream into a reality. Sylvia's dream is to have a Sylvia's Haven in every state to help as many women and their children as she can, and to help this dream come true. A crowdfunding site has been established which can be accessed at www.sylviasdream.org. Now that's www.sylviasdream.org. With your financial help and support, Sylvia Anthony will continue to help those in their time of need, not only in the Boston area, but with her dream of having a Sylvia's Haven in every state of the United States. Your help is needed to make Sylvia's dream come true. Please visit and give at www.sylviasdream.org. Once again, www.sylviasdream.org. And remember, the only difference between a dream and reality is just doing it. We need your help to make Sylvia's dream come true. Visit www.sylviasdream.org. Once again, www.sylviasdream.org. For the X Zone Radio TV show and the X Chronicles newspaper, I am Rob McConnell.
The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Joe Augustyn is my special guest. His website is wildcatpress.net. Joe, did you enjoy doing movies, or do you enjoy being an author more? Or do you just enjoy them both?
I enjoy them both. Movies are definitely more physically demanding, and that was the reason I retired from producing movies. When I did my second film as producer, which was called Night Angel, it was based on the legend of Lilith. It was so intense. I mean, we had so many locations in such a short schedule, and a lot of special effects and stunts and all sorts of crazy stuff. And by the time it was over, I literally had developed chronic fatigue symptom and was in bed for 6 weeks and couldn't even get out of bed.
Oh, wow.
So I realized at that point that it was not worth it to do independent films on a low budget, where you have, you're really fighting for every ounce of control just with circumstances. And I'm also, because I'm a night person, it's easier for me, and I'm more solitary. So writing is, I went from being a writer, producer, to just being a screenwriter for about 10 or 15 years, and then went into writing novels. When I came back here, and my intention was to write novels right from the time I came back here, but I got a few assignments still from California, long distance, and so I continued to do some screenwriting. And then I was interrupted by taking care of my parents who were ill, and then I finally got around to starting to write novels back around 2007 or 8, and I enjoy it. It's more, I can work on my own schedule. I don't have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and rush out to the set to be there to make sure everybody's there on time. And because I was a really hands-on producer, I would literally be the first one on the set and the last one to leave. One time on Night of Demons, I had the grips told me to get lost because I actually stayed behind and was helping them roll cable. I don't know if they felt that I was critiquing them or not, but I was just trying to help out. So,
how long of a production, or how long was the actual film Night of the Demons? How long did it? Was it 45 minutes, 90 minutes, 65 minutes?
No, it's a feature film, about 90 minutes long.
And
it actually played theatrically.
Really?
It went up regionally. It opened in Detroit. That was the first city. And it actually, when it opened, it was the same weekend as the Last Temptation of the Christ, and that was number one on the variety charts with a per-screen average, and we were number two. And it played for